Hello, I'm Michael for GameWatcher.com and welcome to our The Surge preview. The Surge is a game that is inspired heavily by Dark Souls, being developed by Deck 13 and published by Focus Home Interactive. Instead of a dark fantasy universe of the Dark Souls universe, you instead have a futuristic sci-fi dystopia, and within this, a man named Warren, you must take him through and find out the mysteries of what the hell is going on in this sci-fi universe. The Surge shares gameplay design with that of Dark Souls. It is a game about exploration and combat. It is a game about surviving through skill and then upgrading your character as you go along to take on very dangerous bosses and continue the story. The game allows you to take your character and build and improve upon him through a use of combat progression systems as well as salvage. Salvage is released upon enemy deaths, and you collect that salvage to level up your core of your character, which is essentially just like leveling up in any other game. As you level up your character, you'll be able to access more areas as well as gain new equipment. You can use salvage to also upgrade your existing equipment and craft new equipment once you have learned the schematics for that. Another great way to gain equipment is by killing enemies, and you do this by targeting the particular limb of an enemy that you want to get. So for example, if you see a character carrying a giant robot claw on his right arm, you're able to specifically target that arm to do damage to it in combat, and then once you've done enough damage, you're able to execute and slice that limb off, which will then drop that weapon for you to use. This is something that continues throughout the Surge, and it is a great gameplay mechanic, not only in terms of combat because you're able to target weak spots within any given enemy, not just bosses, but it means that you're able to progress equipment wise, try out a variety of equipment, which there is a huge variety within the game itself, not just in armor but in weapons as well. Each of those weapons do different things, have different stats, have different combos, and of course different execution animations. And the great thing is that the fact that as you go along with this game, you're able to really tailor your character as you see fit and that suits your playstyle. Preview build of the game was fairly limited in terms of scope, but from the preview build we can ascertain that it is being so far executed very well. Everything from combat to progression to level design works fantastically, and it's a game that has clearly been thought out well. Combat is particularly difficult, and it requires skill and timing to get past even the most basic of enemies. Players must time their attacks carefully, make sure to block and dodge attacks as they see fit, and then of course make sure to target weak spots to do maximum damage to the enemy. It's also important to make sure that your positioning is correct, because you don't want to get surrounded, because similar to Dark Souls, you can only take so many hits before you're dead and you have to start over again. One place where the Surge differs from games like Dark Souls is in that it is very much story driven. While the game is certainly not linear and it gives you plenty of chances thus far to explore and find secrets in the world, in terms of a motivation for continuing on, the game has a story that will basically reveal itself as you go on, not only through the use of the main story quests and being able to talk to these various characters, but also in the use of audio logs that you can find in the world as you progress. In terms of performance, from the preview build alone, the game looked fantastic. It ran very well, the graphics were very nice, and it maintained a constant 60 frames per second with no issue. Audibly, the game was also top notch, with some great sound effects, music, and voice acting. In terms of previews and first impressions, the game left a very good one, more so than Deck 13's previous attempt at a Souls-style game, which was Lords of the Fallen. The Surge is shaping up to be really good, and if they maintain the level of quality that they have within the preview build itself into the entirety of the full launched game, then it's certain that anybody from Dark Souls fans to fans of sci-fi will be right at home with the Surge. And that is our Surge preview. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Head on over to GameWatcher.com for more.